This is a visit to Cuba, at once a beautiful and charming island just off the Florida coast. Its history is complicated beyond belief, making it a unique destination. You can find other videos that focus on the extreme politics and the extreme poverty being suffered by many of the residents of this small island. But if you want to see the people, their customs, and some of the things their island is well known for, keep watching. Keeping 65-year-old cars on the road, feeding the population with minimal imports, making do and helping each other survive are the focuses of this trip. Our group went partly for educational purposes, but also to bring direct help to people outside the Havana city limits in addition to seeing the island with our own eyes. The Cuban government remains on the U.S. terrorist list for supporting drug cartels and other revolutionaries around the world. It was off the list during the Obama administration, only to be put back by the Biden administration in 2021. We mention this fact because it affects how your visit will go. It is mostly a cash-only economy. Because of the embargo, the government cannot import nearly anything from the United States, and since there is very little hard cash, it is hard but not impossible to import anything from anywhere else. This includes food, clothing, oil, car parts, and indeed most things you can imagine. The revolution is fading in popularity, as is the pure communist experiment the Castros and Che Guevara brought to Cuba in 1959. Guevara died a martyr in 1985 trying to export rebellion and socialism to Africa, then Bolivia. Argentinian by birth and a medical doctor by training, Guevara was a true believer in the perfections of Marxism for the masses and was an expert in guerrilla warfare. Fidel, the president, prime minister, and official leader of Cuba for almost 40 years, died in 2016. His ashes are buried in eastern Cuba, not far from Guantanamo State. Raul Castro, Fidel's brother, retired in 2021 and is now in his 90s. There is new blood at the helm of the Cuban government. The message of our tour guides is that Cuba is looking toward tourism as a way to attract business and prosperity, and has initiated partnerships with hotel chains and other allied tourism groups. The state still owns the land and buildings, but the hotel partners have long-term leases and pay considerable taxes. Many of these hotels are first-class facilities and are very attractive. Some of the challenges they face include fresh water, transportation, gasoline, and electricity. We got to see many of Cuba's treasures. Despite the massive deferred maintenance on most of the buildings, the mechanics are able to keep most of the old Chevys from the 1950s rolling. We got to visit a shop that keeps the cars on the road for taxi service and tourist joyrides.
And from the year 2016,
comienza a crecer el negocio.
they started expanding because he started like buying cars, and then he started restoring these cars, and then he started like being the owners of all these cars.
Aplicando lo que aprendió en Nueva York.
Obviously applying everything that he has learned in New York.
En un país capitalista, aplicarlo aquí, en un país socialista.
In a capitalist country, applying all that to into a socialist country, which it was really hard.
Most of the Chevrolets were built in Cuba by General Motors and were just left there after foreign businesses were nationalized and confiscated without compensation. The cars and the parts were left behind. Once the parts ran out, mechanics got creative, repurposing parts from other models, putting in different engines, even changing the way the cars were built. Whatever it takes is done to get it on the road, and fix them when they inevitably break down. Now, the old cars are a symbol of Cuba in the 21st century. This was a part of our own joyride through Old Havana. Many Cubans still support the communist government for a number of reasons. One is because the Castros built schools and medical facilities for impoverished parts of the island. They are credited with building roads to facilitate transportation, and they humiliated the United States at the Bay of Pigs. The government is in charge of all media on the island, and only positive information is provided about state-controlled everything. There are photos of the Castros and Che everywhere. Getting around Cuba varies dramatically from horses, oxen,
Muy bien. Gracias.
and public transportation that is often unreliable, and people have to wait for hours. The old cars break down frequently, just as they did in the 60s in the United States. Food is in short supply and is rationed out equally when it's available. This is what the ration books look like. Locally sourced foods include seasonal garden vegetables, plantains, rice, and beans. Things like meat, sugar, salt, and other products are harder to get. Our meals reflected what was available at any given time. We were on an established go-ahead tour, so we frequently ate at these local paladors or private restaurants, and their offerings were limited to what was available. The paladors pay taxes every month and tend to serve foreign visitors and the more well-to-do. Most of our meals outside the hotels were served in these private restaurants.
Well, he says, oh, this is
No, the others.
Oh, those, yes. Okay.
These
Like,
are
oh,
today's
like British ships.
These are bananas.
Cuba is historically well known for its high-quality cigars, which are illegal to be exported into the United States. People also are smoking less, but it is a significant cash crop, as we see in this visit to a small tobacco producer in western Cuba.
Where we are going to talk about 6 plantation and different process of the tobacco plant. And the second part, over there in my table, where I'm going to roll an authentic Cuban cigar for you using my hands, my knowledge, my experience, and my heart. With one hand, I'm going to roll, and with the other one, I'm going to strain the leaf. Roll and strain, and apply a little pressure, no more, just a little pressure, okay? Roll and strength, roll and strength, roll and
Stretch.
strength.
You stretch.
And a little massage.
A little massage.
Yeah, cigars I like a woman, my lady. They love massage.
When the tobacco leaves are dried in just the right way, they are taken to official government-owned cigar factories to be assembled and wrapped for export. Sugarcane has also played a big part in Cuba's past, especially near Trinidad. We visited a now closed sugarcane mill.
Le digo que se acerque. Aquí.
Here we go. It tastes like a liqueur.
Coffee is grown in the mountains, but there aren't many in Cuba. We did visit a small boutique coffee grower in this valley of the Ingenios near Trinidad, a UNESCO site. Coffee is out of season when we visited the family. Cubans are famous for their passionate artistic temperament as expressed in the visual arts, music, and dancing.
Sometimes in the night, the people used to listen weird things.
Inspired, right?
Yeah, the inspiration is rings, but today for the visit,
It was freezing.
I was
Not
good
many.
there.
The water was beautiful, but it was.
Yeah, the water was transparent.
Oh.
I went last night and put the
Many Cubans played dominoes as a pastime. We were treated to a visit by a local expert who showed us how to play after a Sunday lunch.
Most of the time they haven't played dominoes. So we're not going to talk too much about the technical aspects of the dominoes. But I got to give you an idea of what the domino is in the world.
Another pastime is baseball. This past year, there were around 200 major leaguers from Cuba, the Dominican Republic, and Puerto Rico. We visited and had a practice round with some of the coaches preparing for spring training.
Oh, like it was clean his shoes. Oh, strike one.
There is a Christmas Eve tradition that started in the 1800s when a priest wanted to wake people up and get them to midnight mass. He reputedly asked the kids to go through the streets making noise to rouse them. They received a small candy bribe. The habit took off, getting more elaborate every year until it became a Christmas Eve carnival tradition with massive fireworks and street dancing that has now spread over the Caribbean and has a museum of its own in Remedios. The Cuban National Hotel in Havana is a symbol of pride for the island for many. It was built in the 1930s by a New York company at a time when Cuba was a prime gambling travel destination. In the past 90-plus years, it hosted the rich and famous, and still does to this day. Although gambling went out with the Communist Revolution in 1959, it is still open for tourism, though Americans aren't welcome to stay in the hotel.
One highlight for this former English teacher is the Havana home of world-famous writer Ernest Hemingway. He spent time drinking downtown at this bar and wrote some of his books in this hilltop home in East Havana. His famous boat, the Pilar, is also located here. You will also find the graves of several of his favorite and famous cats. We visited the Mejunje LGBTQ project in Santa Clara.
The Afro-Cuban religion is represented in Havana in the Callejón de Hamel. It is extraordinarily colorful in this blocked-off street and residential area. We traveled through southern Cuba, visiting Trinidad and Cienfuegos, beautiful, well-preserved Spanish colonial-style buildings, some dating back 500 years. We did get to see some of Cuba's natural beauty. This is one of the many caves, this one in Viñales in western Cuba.
You take them for other people, though.
The champagne bottle upside down.
Oh, yeah.
Early on, the Spanish conducted a lot of logging in Cuba, and many areas were denuded of trees. The Cuban government in 1959 has started several reforestation efforts to bring back some of the areas to more pristine condition while integrating homes in a holistic way. Being an island, there are seashores all around the country. Many of them are gorgeous, world-class white sand beaches, some with coral reefs for snorkeling and swimming. During Havana's long history, soldiers and adventurers have used Cuba as a base, and pirates have often come to plunder Havana, necessitating these fortifications. The Castillo del Moro, built in 1589 at the entrance of the Havana harbor.
Are we taking a photo?
first and you're fine.
You have seen some of the best things that Cuba has to offer. Here's hoping that the geopolitical measures of the past will become history. It is the people of Cuba who are suffering, people whom we got to meet. They have a lot of energy and desire to make things better. Besides, the people behind the revolution, the Castros and Che, are long gone. Here's hoping that people on all sides will become as passionate about building a better, more equitable future, working together again.
Lemon juice? Yes, one more. Okay. Okay. Sugar? Yeah. 2 small, remember? So. Yeah.
And then the sparkling water.
Sparkling, yeah. Sparkling, remember? Here. Remember?
Fill it to 1/3. And then you you have your yeah. Oh, okay.
There, pretend like you're having fun.
If you have a part-time job, you're
And you have to macerate it?
Yeah.
Yeah, wrong.
Don't forget the rum.
Who's making the drink?
Yeah. Too many cooks in the kitchen.
Very nice.
I would say that that's the most representative
Yeah.
Cuba because of different reasons. Especially, Cuba is one of the people is the one that people know the most, especially because of emigrate. Made it more popular. That's most popular ones are Cuba Libre, Factory,
No. Nice. It is.
Super beautiful.
Complete with cheese. Yeah. change.